There. Hey everyone, it's Eternal Snowman here for another BLT recap and analysis. This week is going to be an LC analysis of the semifinals between the Bewares and the Paniola Ranchers. And this week was a little bit more difficult because I didn't have very much time to prep with stuff happening in real life for me, and my opponent was very competent, and on some level I also kind of wanted to play Ubers against Leru, but my Ubers player was pretty confident that he could beat Leru, so it ended up not working out that way, and so I just gave him Ubers because I thought he could win, but ended up not being able to win. And then going into this match, I was down 4-1 as well, so like our team was like in a bad position. But let's just get into the team. I didn't feel like I played super well with the team. It does have some weaknesses, which I'll point out. So we'll start off with Doduo. I really wanted to build around Doduo because Doduo has a large plethora of options, and Brave Bird really threatens a good majority in the meta, as flying type Pokemon have been very successful in LC for a long time. Or I mean, at least in Gen 6 and 7, with previously Fletchling, with now Doduo, Pikapek, and Volibear being very good, and Rufflet as well. So Doduo, a really good Pokemon. It's high speed tier with being base 18 speed means it's really good in terms of offensively. It has good coverage options and has access to priority, and both its stabs are like pretty hard to resist with jump kick as well, at least the standard set. But I wanted to run Grass Natural Gift on it because I felt that it had a lot of potential, because it lures a lot of the Pokemon that would check Doduo, like Chinchou, Onix, Kabuto, and like pretty much most rock type Pokemon that would want to switch in no longer are considered switch-ins. Doduo's main problems though are that it's offensively it's very good, but like defensively it's very bad because it's weak to common types. It doesn't really have a lot of options, and then on top of this, it's like defensive stats aren't good at all. Like these stats, as you can see, it's 35, 45, 35. And then, so this set I'm running, essentially the point of it is, well, Brave Bird is good as just stab, and then Natural Gift lures in Pokemon that would be checked to it and then bops them. And then Pursuit is for Ghastly, and normally I wouldn't be running Pursuit because Knockoff is better in most scenarios, but it provides a lot of support for Zigzagoon, because one of Zigzagoon's main checks is Ghastly, because it's faster and it's immune to E-Speed. And then Quick Attack, of course, for the priority. Zigzagoon, very standard, not much to explain. I wanted to run it alongside Doduo because I think the two have very good offensive synergy, and it pressures a significant portion of the meta. That's, for example, like Doduo can hit Abra with Quick Attack to break its sash so that Zigzagoon can sweep in these type of scenarios. And then Cottonee is like a very good partner to Zigzagoon because of the Memento, because of the Encore. It gets a lot of good options for what it can do. And then it also provides a fighting check, which the other two need like a switch into. And but it ends up being that between these 3 months and towards the end, I end up being very Fungus weak because I don't really have a good option to break Fungus. Likely, I probably should have replaced Onix with like Anorith or Dwebble so that I could have knockoff support. Because my only knockoff Pokemon is Timburr, and it wasn't like, it's not super good because it doesn't like spread knockoff as easily, since it like not everything just wants to switch into Timburr. But we'll see what happens in the match. And for Onix, relatively standard for the weak armor set. There's not really that much to say about it, just Onix stuff. I think that I probably shouldn't have brought Onix, and I should have stuck with like Anorith or Kabuto or another Pokemon that got knockoff, because Onix without the knockoff support doesn't do as well as I would have hoped as the SR setter, and like it doesn't do exactly what I wanted it to. So okay, and then Chinchou, Scarf Chinchou, relatively standard set. The reason why I wanted to run it was because it provided a Magnemite check. It provided another Chinchou like a Chinchou check as well, and a Volt Switch immunity that like Onix is a Volt Switch immunity, but it's like the 2 Volt Switches can also threaten it very hard on the Switch because it's Chinchou and Magnemite, both of which, like, another reason for why it probably would have been a better idea not to run Onix, and like an Anorith or a Kabuto probably would have been better. But it also provides a flying check because my team is very weak to flying bonds, especially Volibee. Special Volibee is a huge threat. So Timburr, just relatively standard Pokemon. I needed a defensive switch in. It provides a defensive switch in for stuff. It's bulky. It's a knockoff support. I feel like I probably should have run a bulkier set rather than running speed, but I mean, it's not a huge deal. I don't think it really mattered for this game. I wanted to run the Iron Fist set because I felt that I needed more strength than Prio, but I like kind of felt iffy about this team because it doesn't have like a clear win condition, and its offensive pressure is good, but it's not like amazing. I just feel like I probably would have been more comfortable if I had a knockoff mon as my SR setter, just because then offensive pressure means a lot more without the Eviolites. But I didn't really have a huge amount of time to test this team and see how good it would be in like actuality. I also didn't have like a ton of replays from Ninja's side, but I essentially assumed that he was going to be using standard, like a relatively standard team, which he did using like a relatively standard team, but I should have been more prepped for Fungus for sure. Like if I had Anorith over Onix, or I think this team would have been a lot more successful because of the fact maybe it's a little bit Volibee weak, but like the knockoff support, the less Fungus weakness, especially being able to knock off Fungus. Because if Fungus switches into like Cottonee or Onix or Chinchou, like Choice Lock Chinchou, it really can't really do much, and it pressures my team hard because Doduo isn't Berry Juice, so I don't really have many good options against it. So we can get into the replay. This is going to be my last BLT and recap analysis for my own matches, but I'm going to be doing analysis matches for some highlight matches as well. So this is like the MJ20 versus Byron the Wellwell that's happening this week. I want to do a live analysis if I can. If I can't, then like whatever, I'll just do one after. And then finals, probably analyze most of the matches as well because it'll be pretty interesting to do that. Probably won't be as in-depth as my own because I can't like tell you what my plays were and the difference. And well, I mean, okay, so first off, it should be known that I lost this game, and I feel like a lot of what happens, of the reason why I lost this game, has a lot to do with the fact that I played too scared, and it's really bad because a lot of how my team plays, I had to be aggressive with my plays and not just play reactively, which is kind of a lot of what I'm used to doing in Ubers because of the nature of how my teams work, and playing reactively works really well with Primal Kyogre. But this team, it needs to be proactive with its plays because it doesn't have defensive switch-ins, so I need to like gain advantages through like momentum, pressure, and these kind of things. And like I made a couple aggressive plays, but like it didn't really give me the same like pressure that I wanted it to. But like if it did, then it would have been a wholly different match because I'll just get into the match because there are some things that I want to explain. Alright, so let's start off with this. So I lead Cottonee, this is a very good scenario for me because essentially I was assuming that he was going to lead either Timburr, Chinchou, or Kabuto, which is safe because Kabuto is going to be his Stealth Rock's lead. Timburr would have been safe versus Onix, and then Chinchou is also safe versus Onix relatively, but not like super good. But Chinchou also would provide a Volt Switch lead, which isn't like super good against my team, so I wasn't really expecting Chinchou, but like more so the Timburr / Kabuto part. So he did lead one of those mons. I could have also expected Fungus, but leading Doduo would have been fine as well. So okay, so he goes Fungus, and this is what I was talking about. I knew he was going to switch out, but there's no reason for him to stay in, and his options were either go Fungus or go Magnemite, and I could have read this and then gone to one of my answers to those Pokemon and provided offensive pressure on them. Like for example, if I expected Magnemite, I could have gone straight Timburr, or even just Timburr into Fungus is fine as well. And this play, I also kind of think I messed up a lot. Sacking Timburr to the sleep means that I'm like relatively weak to Fungus because I don't have a defensive switch into it. And Timburr, while pressuring it defensively, and it can also pressure it offensively because of the Ice Punch and stuff. And Timburr is like a kind of a catch-all Fungus check, and on like bulkier teams, like Timburr would normally be your sleep sack. But on this team, I felt like I should have sleep sacked something else. I could have either stayed in with Cottonee and gone for the Encore after his Spore, which is like what I feel like I should have done, because like I said, I wanted to play more. I should have played more aggressively and not just reactively, and so I should have done that and then Encore, or like instead of Encoring, I could have predicted him to switch out because of that, or go for the Encore, and it would come down to a 50-50. But Encore is like safer, I guess. But like because he doesn't really have a good switch into Cottonee outside of just Fungus. So like if Fungus needs to be switched out, then what does he have to do? So essentially, I feel like I just played too reactively. I let Timburr get Spored, which is a really bad position for me because I have no good answers to Fungus, and then I end up letting it take a Sledge Bomb too, to try to burn down the sleep counter. It was pretty bad for me because Timburr being asleep means that I don't really have a good answer to like a good portion of his team, and it doesn't provide the knockoff pressure that I need. So if that's defensive Volibear, for example, my team struggles against that, and also potentially Juice Magnemite. If I don't get Rocks Up, it's hard to deal with, as well as opposing Timburrs. Like Timburr was necessary in this sense, and also it kind of loosens my speed control. I felt like, looking back on it, staying in on Cottonee is probably the best play because I can't go for the Encore. And the scenario that he goes for Sledge Bomb is very unlikely in that scenario because while he doesn't lose anything from it, he gains a lot more from using Spore, because if I Sleep Sack one of my Pokemon, all 6 of my Pokemon are going to be useful in this match against him. For example, Chinchou is going to be useful in the sense that it's needed as a Chinchou and Magnemite switch in. And then same with Onix is useful because it needs Stealth Rock Sub. Zigzagoon is useful because it's my sweeper. And then Doduo is useful because it pressures his team really hard offensively. The only Pokemon that would be not super useful is the Cottonee, but the Cottonee also provides Memento support and Encore support. And Timburr is also useful because of the reasons I explained before. So like all 6 of my Pokemon are going to be useful. There's not like a good sleep sack. In like some matchups, there would be a Pokemon that like there's a good sleep sack because it's not useful that match, or like it doesn't do much that another Pokemon can't do. So this is like one of the reasons why Fungus, I didn't really have a good way of dealing with Fungus. I let Doduo take this. Okay, and then this is another time. I knew he was going to go to either Kabuto, Chinchou, or Magnemite. I should have read that he was not going to go to Magnemite because of the jump kick and his fear of jump kick, because Magnemite would get too carried by it. And then I should have read this because even if I clicked Natural Gift and Magnemite didn't come in, it would still, and Magnemite did come in, it would still be like a lot of pressure on Magnemite because it deals like a decent amount of damage, even though it's not huge. But my point is that because I didn't do this, I essentially gave up a lot. And also, if Timburr wasn't Iron Fist, okay, so I clicked Braver here, and it gave me like a little bit of recoil. And if Timburr wasn't Iron Fist, then there was also a chance I would live the Mach Punch after. So I just felt that it wasn't a good play on my end. So okay, I click Brave Bird, and then he gets up rocks. It's like pretty crucial that he does get up these rocks. Okay, like I kind of predict him to go for rocks because it's a safe play on his end. There's little reason not to. And I was assuming he was just like, he thought I was Scarf, so okay, I go for Natural Gift. It kills, obviously. But if I had went for Natural Gift, there would be no rocks up, which isn't like super crucial in this matchup, but like it does mean that I cannot rely on Doduo anymore. Doduo is pretty much just a sack at this point. It can't do anything. So like once again, this is kind of me playing reactively such badly. Like sacking Doduo at this point, once again, not really a good play because I had other ways to deal with Timburr. I could have switched to the Cottonee in or whatever, but like I did end up giving it up. I could have quick attack too, expecting that, but then he could have gone for bulk up, reading that. I go for Cottonee again, once again, playing really bad, reactively, going for the Memento because I'm forced into the situation. I go for Zigzagoon, and then I go for the Belly Drum. This turn is pretty crucial because he goes for the Stun Spore. Like, if he was anything but Stun Spore, it means that possibly another Pokemon died because he would either have to try to hit me with a move on Zigzagoon, which literally doesn't do anything, or he would have to go to another Pokemon and sack it, and then it would come down to like 50-50s at that point. So he does end up sacking his Chinchou because he knows that Fungus is going to be extremely important. And here, I actually read that he's Berry Juice and like Berry Juice Sturdy, but he ends up being Z move, Z Thunderbolt or Z Volt Surge or whatever. But obviously, Oko Zigzagoon because it's just not Eviolite or whatever. But like, this play ends up being very crucial because had I played safe, had I went to another Pokemon to deal with the Magnemite, had I clicked Extreme Speed, all of these options meant that I could have won in the long run. At this point in the game, this like is kind of a turning point, and also a lot more of what I was saying about playing reactively. This one I was reading his Berry Juice, but if I had played safe and I had gone to one of my electric communities or I had two Pokemon that was really good at dealing with Magnemite, but I didn't end up doing it. Why? That's like the biggest question. Why? Well, why am I not doing these things? Kind of, I just feel like it's bad play on my part. And even if I clicked Extreme Speed here, the calc is not like super in my favor, but like there's a chance I could have won. So I was just calcing some things afterwards to see what the situation would have turned out to be. But for example, Magnemite. Well, okay. Also, this has a little bit to do with my tier inexperience because had I known that this was like a set, it would have been more likely that I would have gone for the Extreme Speed. And the Extreme Speed, it only has, oh, sorry. Okay, so it only has this much chance to KO, a 25% chance to OHKO. And that's if he's running 0 defense Magnemite, which I'm assuming he is because I don't think that he's like modest Magnemite since that's like kind of uncommon. Wait. What the heck? Oh wait, whatever. Point is that if you, I had like a chance to OHKO him. If I had gone for it or switched out Zigzagoon for a later point, then it would have been better for me. I end up KOing his Magnemite. He reads my Explosion on Onix with a bulk up. And if I went for Earthquake here, I also had a pretty good chance of winning. Like if I Earthquaked and then exploded on the Timburr, then I had like an okay chance of winning the game because like then I could go Timburr and then wait for a wake up, and then if I got a wake up, then I could have knocked off the the fungus or damaged it or something, and then potentially I could have got a win with Chinchou, but like didn't end up happening. And then Timburr just wins from here. Like, not much to see. But like, a lot of what I'm saying is like my playstyle in this game didn't match the team that I brought, and that was like bad on my part because I should have brought a team that was either A, more suited to how I was feeling like playing on this specific day, or played more to what the team should have done. And I respect my opponent because Ninja did play well. He like beat me in the sense that he read what I was going to do. He played safe and appropriately to what was going to happen, and he made the right plays and the right calls. And so it was a good game, and we are eliminated. So not much more I can say about that. I don't feel like we could have mounted that much of a comeback anyway, but it's still disappointing to see that like I was the reason why we lost in the end. Overall, though, I feel like BLT was quite successful for me. I did end up only 2-2, but I picked up a win in doubles in against Miltank Milk, and a lot of what BLT is for me is that it's a fun tournament because I'm not a great Little Cup player. Like, honestly, it's more of something I play for fun, and that's what BLT has been for me. Like, I did want to prove that I was like a better Ubers player than Lario because I did beat him 2-0 in seasonal last time we met, and people have just been saying, "Oh, Lario's like the best, and nobody can stop him." I think I could have beaten him, but regardless of that, I did feel like I was kind of disappointed in my performance against Ninja personally. It wasn't like I made one or two misplays that changed the game. I think I just didn't play the team the way I should have played the team. And it wasn't like an oversight thing. It was just like because I had played this match like relatively recently, even in the mindset, I kind of just realized that I just wanted to play safe, and playing safe with this team didn't really get me as far as I would have liked. And gaining advantages against him playing safe would have been good because like if I made the correct plays, I could have gone and made a lot more offensive pressure. If I got the knockoff, if I weakened Magnemite a bit, if I got Stealth Rocks up, if I got Stealth Rocks up, it would have been no risk going for the extreme speed because then even if he was Sturdy Berry, I could have gotten the KO. And then if I got the knockoff off on some Pokemon like Fungus, I could have made a comeback. If I got the knockoff off on Timburr, if I didn't have Timburr stacked to Spore, and it could have provided a lot more pressure in this matchup. But these are all what ifs and whatnot. So I'll just say it was a GG. And now I'm going to be focusing my efforts on the Open, Smogon Grand Slam. I think I might also upload a video, a quick one on some replays, just like some analysis matches of what happened in Open. I'll probably record. I'll record my round 1 match for UU Open because I thought that it was quite good on my part. So, and if I feel like there's anything that's highlighting, that's worth watching or worth analyzing, then I'll upload it as well. So until then, this will be the end of my run in BLT. Ended up 2-2, not like as happy as I could have been with it, but like at the same time I also didn't play Ubers for 4 weeks. But yeah, and look forward to any other content I'm going to upload, including BLT matches that aren't my own, as well as UU Open, RU Open, NU Open, these potential matches. And that's about it. I'll see you guys next time for another recap and analysis of whatever I decide to do.